My family was dysfunctional, but even though we was in church all the time and loved God, my parents got married and divorced to each other 3 times.
You know, I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I remember that was on the
reality show.
Yeah. 3 times.
3 times. You could look at it as they got divorced 3 times, or you can look at it as they kept trying. In the end of my father's life, that's what he told me.
He said, I kept trying.
He said, I kept trying. He said, I couldn't get that thing right. He said, but I wanted my family. I don't know. I had so many issues. I didn't, your mom she speaks a different language than me, and we couldn't connect. I said, y'all kept having babies because y'all had 9 of us. Y'all figured that part out.
He said, y'all connected some kind of way.
Y'all connected some kind of way.
Love is a treasure chest, but once opened, our hearts become vulnerable.
I went back to Vegas. It was this guy. He appeared as a friend. Sure enough, it led to infidelity.
Alignment can't be ignored.
We talked about certain topics as far as having kids. She didn't want to have kids. And that was one of the red flags.
And I know you desire marriage. So I think it's best you move on with your life.
Hold on, Lisa, what you do?
I told him, okay.
She didn't ask me why.
I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. I watched their videos of them having sex, so I would try to imitate that.
No discussion is off limits. Dear Future Wifey Podcast brings healing.
You inspire us to try God a little bit more.
But through this platform, I have realized that it's possible. It's possible to love again.
The conversations have really helped me to change my perspective on relationships.
Season 7 is all about tough topics. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield, and welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast.
Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. I'm your host, Laterras R. Whitfield. Listen, are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, come on, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, be sure to subscribe, leave a review so that we can keep ranking top 10 on Apple Podcasts. Thank y'all so much for the love that y'all have shown. We are in season 7. Can y'all believe that? This is the second episode of season 7. And when I tell y'all, I have an amazing guest today. Y'all know that this is my personal journey as I discover, uncover, and recover love. And so this season is about tough topics. We're going to deep dive into conversations that we really don't talk about a lot. So some stuff is going to be very polarizing during the season. Some stuff is going to have you open up your mind to new thoughts. And this episode is just going to be pretty fun. I think this is going to be a pretty lighthearted episode. We'll see. We'll see what this guest has to offer. So without further ado, welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. Y'all know and love her, Erica Campbell, y'all.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Now, Erica, you supposed to have been on here last season.
Yes.
What happened?
The schedules just didn't align.
Basically, she'd be making so much money she didn't have time to even come through. That's basically what it is.
Church, kids, radio, husband, family. Lord, it didn't pan out.
You know what's so dope about it? How do you manage all these things you have going on? Like managing family, managing a church, managing a hot radio show. Like how do you ever have time to even for yourself? Do you even take time for yourself?
Of course. One day at a time, one moment at a time. I tell people, well, I wear a lot of hats, but I don't wear them all at the same time.
That's good.
So when I'm home, I'm mom. When I'm out, I'm artist, minister, singer, radio host, whatever it is that I am. And I believe God gave me the husband and the family that I need for the career and ministry that I need. If the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow, then I can't call my ministry a blessing and a burden at the same time.
Oh God, dog!
You know what I mean?
My family. She's gonna start off right now. we just gonna jump on in it like that. Huh?
Yeah.
You said you can't call it a blessing and a burden
at the same time, and we do that with ministry. Like we want to be called, we want to be used, we want to be chosen, and then when He does, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, this travel. Oh, it's so much. You know what I mean? So I used to say when me and Tina first started, every interview they would say, "So what else is going on?" Well, I ain't had nothing else going on. We just released Shackles. That's all I got. But I would say, I walk through whatever door God has for me. And I said that for years. And then God started opening doors. Some of those doors I was intimidated by. And then I said, all right, Lord, if you brought it to me and that is truly from you and not a decoy from the enemy, then you'll give me the strength, the wisdom, the provision, the joy that I need to finish the task. I don't have to speak death when I asked for this very blessing, like people do with marriage.
You know, I met you years ago. You probably won't remember. I met you in Atlanta, Georgia y'all were about to film something for the Gospel Music Channel at GMC.
Oh, yeah.
And
the Christmas special.
Yes. I was there. The guy was, one of the VPs was showing me around. We was going to do a deal where I was going to start taking my plays and they were going to start shooting it for GMC. And so I saw you, I met you, and I was like, she is such a cool person. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't walk around with air. You don't act all stuck up and bougie. I was like, one day I'm gonna work with her.
Wow.
I said, because she is so cool. And then I met you again years I think it was prior to that. It was in L.A. at my boy David E. Talbert's play. He had a play where Warren Campbell's, wasn't that his sister? His sister was in the
and
play.
Google was
Joy.
in it too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I met you there.
Was I nice again?
Nice
okay,
again.
Well, praise God.
Consistency. You're very consistent.
I try to be.
And so I was like, I love how, first of all, how transparent you are. I used to watch y'all show all the time, loved it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, y'all be, hold on, have you always been transparent like that?
No, but I've never been afraid of the truth. I'm more afraid of a lie. Because you have to chase it down. You know, what are you protecting yourself from? In recent years, God told me, I never told you to trust people. I told you to trust me. So if you've gone through it, there must be some testimony, some purpose. God is never taking you through a situation so you'll have to live the rest of your life hiding the situation.
Oh, my God.
My mom said, even if you sin and you fall, God will forgive you, but there is a consequence. But you can live anything down. If you live with honesty and integrity and don't be mad at people, because sometimes you fall and you disappoint people and their hurt comes out in different ways and maybe they may say things, but you did it. You did it. You know what I'm saying? So like people be mad, but you did it.
Yeah,
so I'll be like, hey man, I'm sorry, my bad. Because more than anything, people's feelings are hurt when they believed in you and they trusted you. You know, I know that's how I've been when I've seen people that I love have indiscretions or situations. More than anything, I'll be like, dang, man, I was rooting for y'all. What happened? You know what I mean? I don't make them my enemy because they're human.
Facts.
And I know that God has given me grace and forgiven me of things. So I've never been embarrassed like that.
But you never dealt with anything that, to my knowledge, that caused public disappointment, have you?
Might have been like before I was married, but I mean.
I'm talking about as married. I'm talking about when the world became, everybody knew you. You never experienced that. You had some little haters. Hold on. You had a little hater when you had the little white dress on.
Oh yeah, all of that. I wasn't saved when I had the white dress on. We wasn't saved when we did God and Me, and all of that.
Oh, they said that about God and Me. That's my jam.
God and Me. Oh yeah, they said we wasn't saved for that too.
Please explain that. How could you?
I have no. It's hard to explain stupid.
Yeah.
So I don't try to explain stupid.
When I say that was my jam, let me tell you something, boy. I never knew that it was any controversy around that.
Yeah, I mean, people just have a problem with things that reach outside of the doors. But the gospel that I grew up hearing was go into the highways and hedges and convince men to come in. It doesn't say, let them get straight. And then when they come in, teach them Jesus on the main line. It says, go to where they are. My father's ministry was preaching to the gangbangers and the gang members and stuff on the street. So I did that my whole life. I was going to prisons when I was 12 years old.
Yes.
I've always had a heart for the people that don't know how great God is.
Will y'all go there singing?
Yes. I was singing at 12. Yeah. Me and Tina didn't grow up a group. We didn't start singing together till we were I was 18 and she was 16. And we only sung together because her best friend, Erica, wasn't there that day. And I was like, I'll sing the song. And we sang together and we were like,
I switched that one Erica for another Erica.
No, we still didn't become a group. We started writing songs and, went to Warren and be like, hey, we made up this song. And I had just met him. So.
How long y'all been married?
22 years.
22 years.
I like to say we're healthily married.
Well, I'm telling you,
happily and healthily married.
It's a big difference.
That's not a word. I just made it
up.
Yeah,
but it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Today we're going to have a discussion as we jump into tough topics. We're going to talk about in-laws versus outlaws.
Yes.
So this is important to you. Why?
It is important because so many people expect to not love or have a great relationship with their in-laws. And Warren comes from a strong family unit. So much so till when we started dating, I would come to his house and his dad worked late hours. So it'd be 10:55, Dad gets home at 11. At 10:55, the whole family starts buzzing. Dad's almost home. Ooh, Dad's almost home. Joy, Mama Campbell, Warren, Dad's almost home. And I'm like chuckling like, they doing that because I'm here. And he would come in the door and they would greet him with love and Mom would ask him if he's hungry. Yes, every single time. And even to this day, when Dad comes home, it's nothing but love. I didn't see that. So I thought
I ain't never seen that either.
I thought like, oh, they
faking. Right. Some TV
There's
show family.
so much honor. There's so much honor in that family. And because I love my family, but it wasn't that way. There was some adjusting.
Yeah.
But we both, once we realized we really want to do this for real, from day one, we were doing things together. Our first thing that we had with both families, and I don't even know why we did this. It was the 4th of July, and we said, let's have a party and bring all of our family and friends together. All your family, all my family, all your homeboys, all my homegirls, everybody. And we brought them all together. And it was a great time.
How long at this point?
Maybe 3 years, maybe.
But did y'all know y'all was gonna be together at that point?
No.
Y'all was just dating, but it was.
It's like my family always does stuff. Your family always does stuff. I want to be with you. You want to be like. Once we started hanging, we talked every day. We saw each other every day until I left to go on tour. I was in the stage plays until I left to go. We would see each other every single day.
And you said we're gonna bring all our family together.
He lived in West Hills, which was about about an hour from where I lived. But we would drive back and forth. I would drive to West Hills in my raggedy car, and he would drive to my house in Lawndale.
For 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, well, the whole time we dated until I moved out. It's a long, complicated, wonderful, amazing story. But it was always our families coming together. It was not easy, though.
Why not?
Because when I first started coming around, I'm 3 years older than him. And he was in the music industry working with Death Row. And I'm like, this older girl, who are you? Why are you interested in this young, And I remember after we had been dating a few years, I asked Mama Campbell, I said, so what do you think about me and Warren? Do you think I could be his wife? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay. And she was honest from day one.
She said, I don't know.
I don't know.
How'd that make you feel?
If I felt a little rejection, but then my sarcastic nature said, well, he's supposed to know, you're not going to know anyway, so.
But you didn't say that,
I didn't say that out loud, no. Because I was raised with respect, and Mama Campbell don't play them games. But it was a bit of a journey because she said she didn't want a daughter-in-law. She wanted another daughter. And so she said, I want to be able to love you, correct you, just like I would my own child. And it was a bumpy road because I got a big old family.
Yeah.
And a lot of sisters, And a little backstory, my mom did not have a great relationship with my grandmother, who's gone on to be with the Lord. She did not like my mother at all. When we went to my grandmama's house, it was a picture of my daddy's ex-girlfriend and my daddy that faced each other.
Wow.
And I feel like she almost set it up on purpose when we would come over. So my mama faced that her whole life, knowing that she was with her son, but she was never really.
Her whole life.
Her whole life, yeah. I would go over when I was younger and they would be talking about my mom. Your mom said this. And I'd be like, no, she didn't. And then your mom, I was like, no, she didn't. But that's as a little girl. But I didn't realize me saying no, she didn't was teaching me how to speak truth to power and also to lies. So I grew up learning how to open my mouth. But I also grew up seeing my mom be humble. And I didn't know that humility was quiet strength.
Yes.
I thought it was weakness to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? We sing, let the Lord fight my battles, but we don't really do it.
Talk about it.
And so not knowing that had been deep in my heart, developing my relationship with Mama Campbell and Dad Campbell, for that matter, was an interesting road because all I had heard is moms don't release their sons. You know what I mean? Y'all not going to get along. And it just wasn't that way. I would come over, she would cook, I would come over all the time. And our relationship just developed. Now, I know that it was a struggle for her releasing her son because her family is a nucleus and she loves hard.
So how many is it of them? Like as far as
small, 4, just mom, dad, Warren, and Joy. Yeah. Small nucleus. And I remember we had hit a bump in the road. Me and Warren was spending a lot of time together. And, she's used to holidays. My family is here, right?
Yeah.
And as your children get older, they want to be out.
Yep.
And that is hard for any mom to grasp. I'm dealing with it now. My daughter's 18. And I remember her first Christmas where she was like, I'm going with my friends. I was like, you don't want to be with me on Christmas? So I understand why Mama Campbell's like,
how did you deal with it? Did you allow it?
Who, Krista?
Yeah, did you allow
I did. I just sat and processed. But my mom happened to be there. My mom.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, is this how you felt? She said, every time y'all left, but I had to let you grow up. So, I've been blessed to have had small nuggets and small lessons that taught me how to be a good wife, but also a good daughter.
Yeah.
And a good daughter in love. I knew that if I start a war with her, the only person who's going to suffer is my husband, my father-in-law, and my sister-in-law. You know what I mean? And so I wanted the relationship that she wanted too, but we speak a different language. They're very, very thoughtful. They remember every birthday, cards for everything. My family, we love each other and we would get together, but it wasn't like that the way they did it. So me first coming in, it felt like she's not thoughtful. She doesn't remember things. You know what I mean? Because I didn't gift and love the way they did. And I think a lot of people, you don't realize that God is bringing you these two worlds together. I know we say leave and cleave and we think, oh, it's just me and him, but it's not. Birthdays, holidays, special days, you are with these people. If you don't build family, then you don't have a support system. They have literally been my support system.
So you celebrate their birthdays and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, we do everything together. All of
really?
us. Yeah, my whole family would come to Mama Campbell's house for Christmas and Thanksgiving, or they had their family tradition, which was Christmas breakfast. They welcomed my whole family into that Christmas breakfast. So it's been a beautiful ride. Not that it's all been easy, because my mama wasn't used to sharing. She wasn't used to sharing. So we had to process that. I remember the start of Mary, and I'll be like, my mama's. You know what I'm saying? And I know my mom at first was like, I was here first. You know what I mean?
I was here first.
Yeah, but we built a strong relationship, and people are always amazed at it.
So you were very intentional about that on the onset.
Yes.
You said, we're going to make sure, like you said, even in the dating phase, y'all were merging the families, making people acclimated to each other, even in the dating phase.
Yeah. On our wedding day, we had all family and then friends.
You're talking about all family on one side?
All family. His family, my family. So my parents sat by his parents, sat by his aunties and my aunties, cousins and friends.
I like that.
And I said I wanted my uncle, who was the preacher, bless the family. And then bless our friends. And y'all pray that we learn to come together and support each other.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we started that way. So even when it's rough, my family prays for both of us. His family prays for both of us. I love his cousins. I love his aunts.
Otherwise, get me emotional right now. When I think about, because that's what it looks like when the Bible says the two shall become one. It's these
two separate families. You know what I mean? Like, how beautiful is it that if Warren needs something, he could call his sister, but he could call my sisters. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like, he has definitely looked out for every one of my sisters, genuinely given to them, genuinely been there for them.
And that's how you do family right.
Yeah. And even when it was difficult times and troubled times, we still loved each other. We held each other accountable. You fuss each other out. But if we're going to stay family, let's fuss and fight, pray, and ask God to heal us together.
And it's nobody choosing sides. Have you found situations like when y'all went through rough times that his family could pour into you and not be and talk to you from an unbiased standpoint?
For sure.
And vice versa?
For sure. Absolutely. It was one of his cousins when I was, really struggling in the beginning of our relationship. And, me and Mama Campbell, I remember when Krista was born, Lord Jesus.
What happened?
Krista we was fine. And then Krista came and she was like, Krista's mine. And I was like, no, Krista's mine. You know what I mean?
Take ownership.
Oh God. Krista would be at her house. I'll be out of town and I would be happy that she was there. And then I would come back and want Krista home. And Krista would be like, well, I'm just going to stay with Nana. And I'd be like, she's stealing my child. So, and it was Warren's cousin Kim that would call and talk me through and help me understand. It was so beautiful to have that. And if I didn't like what was going on with Warren, I would call Dad. In our first house, Dad would come over and knock on, son, I need to talk to you. And he'd go talk to him, and Warren would come back just as kind and sweet.
Well, speak about this then. So that's a good point. Speak about people that say, I don't need my family all in my business like that. Like we're married, we gonna have what we have, and we gonna keep whatever we got together. Don't be calling my mama. Don't be. I'm grown. Whatever we gonna deal with, we gonna deal with it here. What do you have to say about that?
So I went to Israel, right, and they had something called kibbutz. I believe that's the name of it. And it is where the whole family lives in community together and supports one another. They bring their resources, they bring their food, they bring all of their gifts and talents to build the family, the legacy, right? No one gets married and now I'm all struggling on my own. We have wealth here. We have knowledge here. We have prayer here. We have wisdom here. Bring this new married couple that don't know what the heck they doing in the middle of this love and unity and build it. Everybody doesn't have that. Some people come from hostile situations, right? Some people come from, dysfunctional families, My family was dysfunctional, but even though we was in church all the time and loved God, my parents got married and divorced to each other 3 times.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I remember that was on the
reality show. Yeah.
3 times.
3 times. You could look at it as they got divorced 3 times, or you can look at it as they kept trying. In the end of my father's life, that's what he told me.
He said, I kept trying.
He said, I kept trying. He said, I couldn't get that thing right. He said, but I wanted my family. I don't know. I had so many issues. I didn't, your mom she speaks a different language than me and we couldn't connect. I said, y'all kept having babies because y'all had 9 of us. Y'all figured that part out.
He said, y'all connected some kind of way.
Y'all connected some kind of way. But I saw people push and fight for love. Even though my mother and my grandmother, didn't really rock with my mama that way. My mom still loved and cared for her. And in the end of her life, I remember her coming to our house and she said, Tommy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't kind to you.
Oh, she apologized.
She apologized. She said, I know I was mean to you. And she said, you've been nothing but nice to me. I remember she was sitting right on the couch and my mom had tears.
I can only imagine.
And so I saw what forgiveness looks like. I saw what it means to literally be Christ-like and for God to mend the broken place. My mom didn't make her arch enemy. She didn't say we couldn't go over there. She would just pray because she knew what it was like.
What did you think watching that process take place? Because I'm telling you, that's just not normal. Most of the time, the mom would be like, listen, she don't like me. You ain't finna be, you're not gonna get the benefit of seeing my kids like that. But your mom operated in such dignity and grace. What did that mean to you?
I was too young to process it. Now, my thought process is my mom didn't make me a pawn.
Yes.
She didn't use me, as a movable piece.
Yes.
You did this to me, I'll do this now, you don't get your granddaughter.
Yes.
Then I miss out on my grandmother because she did love me. She did love us, My grandmother was a feisty little old thing. You hear me? But she could pray. I was so greatly convicted. Didn't all that praying make you be nice to my mama? It didn't. You know what I mean? I learned early that you could be in church and praying and all of that and people could still get divorced. You could be in church and praying and have a godly family and somebody still be on drugs, somebody still go to jail, somebody still struggle in their flesh because you have to put all that prayer and faith in action even in your relationship and God gives you a chance to, right? Yeah. You can be in church and say, oh, I'm gracious, I'm kind, I'm forgiving. He's going to give you somebody to be gracious, to be kind, and to be forgiving to. Who better than family?
Where did that come? Because it takes a while. Hindsight being 2020, you're looking back on those areas in your life, and it didn't. Did you ever find a time in your life where your faith struggled, where you was like, hold on, God, now this faith walk don't seem right?
Oh, of course.
How'd you process it?
I want to go to heaven. I want to see Jesus.
You said whatever I'm going through, I got to get it.
All I thought was, what if I hold on to this? And I tattoo it on my face because I'm mad and I'm going to be mad for the rest of my life and all of my life. And Jesus comes back and he says, I forgave you. He never told me to trust people. He told me to trust him. That means I have to get in situations with uncomfortable people, with people that have said things and done things, right? So my life glorifies God. So even if they don't like me, they be like, dang, she could have cussed me out justifiably, but she didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember being in church one time, and me and Warren had started going to this church that I didn't want to go to because I had been in my family church the whole time, and I grew up Kojic, right? And this was a Bible/Baptist church, so they didn't sing the same, they didn't shout the same. So I'll be going, and I was like, I'm here because I'm supposed to be, not because I want to be. trying to be a good
Whole
wife
attitude
and
before
follow
the
him.
Lord.
Whole attitude.
Before
right?
the Lord.
Before the Lord, right? And I was just annoyed. And I was like, well, can you let me feel something? And I literally, with that little bit of surrender, with that little bit of, even though I don't want to, I'll do it for you, right? Because you told me to honor, and he's supposed to be the head. So I'm going to follow him, even though I don't really know where he's going right now. Could you just let me feel something? And I felt God wash over me from the top of my head to the sole of my feet. I kid you not, I felt God. And I knew in that moment, everything would be okay.
Yes.
So a bit of backstory with my mom and dad's situation. My mom didn't always follow my dad. They stayed together, but she didn't always follow. If she thought he was making the wrong decision, she made her own decision. What married people don't understand is that small lack of respect and support for him translate is she don't really think that much of me, right?
Yeah.
It says, respect your husband, love your wife, because we are wired different. And I know this world wants to make us all the same. I'm not a man. I don't want to do the same things as a man. I'm not saying I want to do the same. I want to be a woman, fully a woman that God created and live in this space and be as powerful as that is. There is nothing minimizing by saying I'm a woman. I don't have to be, I'm not stronger because I'm him. Because guess what? I just made him more powerful than me if I'm saying I want to be him in order to be powerful. Woo. But if I say I am me and that is enough, it is all that it needs to be. God didn't make a mistake. He didn't say if I made you a little more masculine, then you would be powerful, then you'll get the position, then you'll be recognized. No, be fully a woman, sensual, wonderful, all that you are, feminine, soft and strong, nurturing like the womb inside of your belly, and be all that you are. I know my power. I learned it a while ago.
Erica.
Early on in my life. So I don't need to be a man in order to be powerful.
Erica. You done preached the whole word. When I tell you that's real, because I hate this whole thing that we hear in these social media streets, this pink pill community versus the red pill community. It's always like just
I don't know what's the pink pill and the red pill. I don't know.
So the pink pill are the feminists. You know, it's all about, you know, the woman is, you know, the alpha women. We don't really need no man. We can earn our own. All this type stuff. And then you have the red pill that can't stand women. They feel like women get these rights that men don't get. That women are very trifling. All this is anger, and I'm like, what is all this? Do y'all love each other? What's going on?
It's the plan of the enemy to destroy family.
Facts.
That's it.
And so you have this battle, and then what's so amazing about what you just said was the fact of saying, no, man, live fully in who you are.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. I'm going to live fully in who I am. Yeah. And both of us come together. That's where you get the best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds.
But as long as I keep sitting up here saying, well, I need to be this and I need to, and it's like, no, rest in your feminine. That's powerful. That's beautiful. That's how God created you. Man, operate in your masculinity.
Yeah.
You know, and you both exist in the best of both worlds, and you have a beautiful family. Right. If you understand how to submit to that in your life.
Well, people have misconstrued what masculine and feminine is, right? They've minimized certain things. Men don't cry and women don't do this. We can do all the things, right? What we want to do is break the stereotypes, but still exist in what God created. I believe if he created the entire universe, consider this. He made the entire universe, right? Sun, moon, stars, seasons, animals, everything that he created obeys God. The sun comes up, the moon comes up. Spring never says, I want to be winter. Winter never says, I'm jealous of summer. Everything that he created is perfectly fine. The birds fly, the fish never want to come out. Everything that he created, except for the ones that he gave choice. The ones that he gave choice, we question him, we doubt him, we don't believe. If we serve a perfect God, and my husband just preached this recently, you can go look it up on California Worship Center on YouTube.
There it is. I'll put a link to it.
He preached this message about God being perfect. And God doesn't make mistakes. But God made us. So what does that mean? Does that mean I have to be perfect? He knows that I'm never going to be. But he is. If I trust him and I put him in the center of everything, even in the confusing things, somehow, some way, it's going to work out, right? I didn't understand the lessons that I was learning growing up. I didn't understand that I was watching my mom's humility. I didn't understand that that was quiet strength, right? I didn't know that I was watching my parents fight for love. I didn't know that watching my parents raise all these kids with no money would give me the strength that I have today to do what I do. People always ask me how. I saw it mirrored in my family. Yes. I saw my mama raise all these kids. I saw them fight for love. I saw them be committed to God. Even though they were flawed and even though they didn't stay together, I saw that they stuck with God. I never heard my mom say, forget this, bump the church. Never. Not once. I never saw my dad say that. My dad battled sickness his whole life. Now, he would get sarcastic and a little cynical, but he never left God. And many people, you're going through and you're dealing with something, and yes, you may get sad and you may get cynical, but you don't ever doubt God.
Teach.
Don't ever doubt God. Trust that there is a purpose and a plan. Your heart may hurt. You may be watching this trying to figure out how to get a wife or how to get a husband. I don't know. But start with trusting God's plan. If his way is perfect, God's way gets God's results. I know the world and the culture has all these ideas and all these things that they're doing, but when it don't line up with the word of God, for me, I don't want it. Call me corny. Say submissive is a bad word. I don't care. I'm 22 years happily married. We went through the storm, came out. My kids love me. I love my kids. I love my family. That's all I need. It really is. I know you feel like if I get these things, then I'll feel good. Too many people have gotten the things and still depressed. Too many people have acquired the big church and still feel like you're going to lose your mind. Work on family. Work on love. Before he made a church, he made a family. That was first. Because family is the foundation for a community. If you got a good house, a good family, they're going to make a deposit in that neighborhood. People going to know, oh, yeah, that's the house. Oh, the mom and dad, they had a good family over there. They're going to know that. Someone's going to be inspired by that and want that too. That's what the family is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, we better than everybody else. We look at us, we better than you. It's not about being, are y'all happy? You know what I'm saying? Do your kids come back home on holidays with your big house or just y'all? They left and they never want to come back.
Yeah.
Do your kids sit on the front row of your church? Can they clap when you preach or do they roll their eyes?
Yeah.
I do not want to be a public success and a private failure where I can encourage the world, but my kids roll their eyes at me.
You said God's way gets God's results.
Yeah.
The importance of that is so often we feel like we can figure things out, we got it or whatnot. And when we really, truly realize that we are submitted to a sovereign God, then we truly become submitted to his will.
Yeah.
What was that transition like coming from, you're still an artist, still touring, still doing that stuff, but then becoming a first lady, becoming a co-pastor? What was that like?
Not a co-pastor, just a first lady.
Why you in a co-pastor?
That guy called him. I'm just first lady.
You said, let's be clear now. I'm not a co-pastor.
Now, he says that I didn't join the church for 6 months. He decided to start a church and put out my solo record around the same time. So I had promo. So I would be coming in with my suitcase or, missing the first few services. And so at about 6 months, he said, well, y'all, the first lady decided to join the church. But I was not on board when he first told me.
Why not?
I was like, you messing up our lives. We're artists. What are you doing? We sing. We do. You messing up our lives, but now we got to be there every Sunday? Like, what is you doing? And
how long did it take for you to get on page? Was it the 6 months he says?
It was about a year and a half.
A year and a half for you to finally get on the same page.
Yeah, I was irritated.
So what was the thing that made you the most irritated about?
Because you didn't. God, I told you that I do not want a pastor. I said I want him to be hood, but I want him to be a little street. I need him to be able to pray and also fight. If we walk in a room and it's going down, I want to feel protected. And that's what I got. And then
he said, that's what I got.
That's what I got. And then we was going to Faithful Central Bible Church. He started hanging with Bishop Omer. Then he goes to Bible college. I was like, what you don't need that to produce records? What you doing? Then it just kept, then he was at church every Sunday on the organ, but he was like intently watching Bishop Omer. And I saw him changing and growing. And I kept going, Lord, we talked about this.
You already knew where it was going?
I already knew where it was going. Then he started the Bible study. I was like, just Bible study. One Friday out of the month, Bible study. The first Bible study, 70 people show up.
At y'all house? Where'd y'all have it at?
No.
Oh, she said, your daughter was talking about no. I said, no, they ain't going to talk.
No, we started at a hotel.
That's why they normally do the Bible studies at your house when you're starting off as a pastor.
Well, no, we were already fully who we were, so I didn't want to
have everybody come to your house.
No, I couldn't do that. But
your daughter said no, no shit.
I remember me fussing one Sunday about something. I can't remember. Oh, he was asking me, was the kids ready? And you know, mama's job. So I get everybody ready and me ready. He just getting him ready. So am I ready? No, I'm not ready. You see, I had to get Zaya's hair done. Like, so I'm doing all that. So he goes separately to get church. And in the car, I heard the Holy Spirit say, that's how you want to help him get ready to preach? That's what you want him to have to process
at that
through?
time, he was about to be, that time
we
had
had started
the
church by now.
Okay.
And so we'd had this argument, and we don't really argue that way. But it was an argument this particular morning. And so I felt bad about it. The Holy Spirit was on my head. And when I got to church, I went to his office and I was like, I'm so, so sorry. I was like, no matter how I feel, I never want to get in the way of you hearing from God, you know, and what you have to do with all these people. Like, we got to do something with the people.
Yeah.
And so.
Do you normally apologize that quickly?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with apology. He doesn't either.
So as soon as you feel the Holy Spirit convict you like that, you'll move on it.
I may roll my eyes and be like, can he go first? Sometime. But then I ask myself, do you want to be right or do you want things to be right?
Teach.
And I always want things to be right. So
Teach.
I have to put my ego aside. But I remember it was one Sunday, he preached really, really good. And I'm looking around, I was going, yeah, this is God. This is God's design. I realized the things that we went through and what we've learned with him growing up apostolic and me growing up Kojic, and our misconceptions and our broken hearts over ministry and what we did in the industry as, you know, artists. God was preparing us for the people that are at the California Worship Center. And so I went up after service and I whispered in his ear while altar call is going on, I'm so sorry that I wasn't with you, but I'm with you 100%.
Hey.
God called you and I'm here and I'm with you. And I just wanted him to know that I was with him, and I could feel his body just.
Yeah, because it just hit me the same doggone way. Like, when women, if women understood the power y'all have to speak to the king and the man, like, he was doing all of that, and still, I don't care if he had 20,000 people in that audience.
When your wife ain't with you.
When your wife ain't with you, it's like them 20,000 don't mean nothing.
Right.
I remember God giving me this revelation. It's when that video went viral that you and I discussed as soon as you sat down. The infamous Whitfield video.
Yes.
And the girl that I was dating at the time, she says, how does it feel to be like, to go viral like this? And at that time, it was like 20 million views or something. And I says, it feels empty to be seen by millions if you're not seen by the one.
That's so true.
I'm telling you, I don't care how many women in my DMs, how many people saying, "Oh my God, you're so amazing." It's like, I'm still single. I still want to be married. I still like, what does that really mean to me?
Likes. And don't get caught up in them likes. It don't mean nothing. That ain't a real connection.
Nothing. And so for your husband to sit on that stage for that year and a half or whatnot and preach his heart out and hear from the Lord and be privately praying to God, like, God, I need my wife to just get on board, and I ain't gonna put too much pressure. I ain't gonna clown, I ain't gonna act crazy, and I'm not gonna feel like I must not be fulfilling your will, because if it was, then things would be happening in decency and order. She would automatically be like, hey, this is what it is. God got you, let's go.
Yeah.
And then when you said that to him, that's why I could just feel it. I could feel the weight just. And at that point, he's like, oh, ain't nothing I can't do. Because the power, the Bible says one can chase away 1,000, two can set 10,000 demons to flight.
Yes.
What he's been able to accomplish by himself in building the ministry is just scratching the surface. Because the minute you got on board, I guarantee you start seeing things climb and explode on a different level. It's just how God operates in unity.
We did.
What did you see change?
The different people that came, worship changed, altar call grew. We're in LA, so a lot of influencers, a lot of people, of prominence as it relates to media coming, and we're not the kind of church that has a private entrance, and they came through the front door like everybody else. They didn't know there's not a private green room where the celebrities go, and anybody that goes to Cali Worship, they know at the end of service, me and Warren go to the back and we shake hands.
Good.
And our new building, God blessed us with.
Got a new building?
Yes, God blessed us with a building during the pandemic. Yeah, so God just, I think as we surrendered, He said, okay, Not that we're not without our issues and the turbulence and, people coming and going and, you feeling like people and, we're with that too. But again, we're a church that talks about grace and mercy and kingdom forgiveness and all of that. So we've been able to model what we had to experience. And I love that about the Father. He'll give you something to say, but you gonna always have your time to see if you really believe it. You know what I'm saying? When somebody is preaching on something, it's because they done been down that road.
Talk about it.
And God has revealed it. They've been in the mud and God brought them out. And so, I'm pro-marriage. I'm pro-family. I'm pro God's love. Like I said, God's way gets God's result. That does not mean that you're not going to go through. You know what I'm saying? We love talking about the Hebrew boys in the fire. But are you willing to stand up for something to the point you get thrown in the fire?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We love talking about Daniel in the lion's den and he shut the mouths of the lion, but he got thrown in the lion's den.
Facts.
Most of us aren't willing to get into the fire and believing that God will be in the fire with us. Some of us won't even open our mouths because we're afraid of people, especially in this climate.
Yes.
Oh, I'll get canceled. I'll get this. I'll get...
Yep.
If it's the truth, if it's God's truth, I know that one must be wise to win souls. I know that we must be smart. It's why Jesus told spoken parables to non-believers because there were certain things they wouldn't understand, but he still told the truth.
How long have y'all been open as a church?
Yeah. 7 years.
It's been 7 years?
It's been 7 years. Cali worship. Yeah.
I did not know it was that long.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was it's like I started hearing more about it, I think, in about 2019. I think it was about 2019.
Really?
So y'all opened, okay, wow. Yeah. And you said about a year and a half later, you came on board.
I came on board.
But you said, do not put the title of co-pastor on you, huh?
Nah, I'm a first lady, and I'm totally cool with that. I think because I do so much in my life, I'm not fighting for authority. This is no slight to any co-pastor that is called, and God has called you. But I think some men are forced to put their wives in position because they fuss at home. Yeah. Well, what do I do? And what's my title? And what do I... Like, what does God want you to do? If God told you to serve the kids, serve the kids. That's not less than you preparing the future. You know what I mean? So I do so much in my life.
Do you ever preach there?
I preach. I direct the choir. I'm on the worship team.
You direct the choir?
Yes. We have choir night, Sunday night. I do all the things.
So you're up there working, huh?
Yes. We lost the digital media person, so they told me, I need you. I was like, y'all, I love this church.
What they got you doing in digital media?
To posting stuff. I love Cali worship. We need the people to work.
You say you're there posting on social media?
Lord Jesus, I'm doing all the things.
They got
After
you doing graphic design?
When he finished,
they got you on Canva doing graphics?
Well, we finally got somebody to do graphic design. Listen. Shout out to Brother Kwaku. Thank you, sir. Nah, but we got a great group of people that serve that I can definitely call. But, it's us. You know what I mean? So we have to do it, and that's fine. We're in the beginning stages. He'll equip me to do it. He's not going to call me to it and not give me what I need. He'll stretch me a little bit, but that's only going to make me stronger.
What have you learned about church, being on this side of things? Because the thing about it is, people don't understand. Y'all be going through. I have a lot of pastor friends. So people they have no idea what y'all go through. Jonathan McReynolds' song where he said, deliver me from people.
Deliver me from people. No, that's real.
Yeah.
I've learned to care without carrying.
Hold on. I want you to break that down for the people in the back. You said I had to learn to care without carrying.
Yes.
Break that down.
I can hear your testimony. I can pray for you. I can have a conversation with you, but I'm not taking it home. I'm not going, that's your stress and I don't want you to have it, but I'm not finna allow stress to sit on my shoulder and my head because I have other things to do.
Did you have to learn that balance?
Well, see, I kind of had a I don't care spirit for a long time.
Erica, what you tell me? Erica, you can't say you had an I don't care spirit. You can't.
No, I did. Because I grew up with a real sarcastic family. So people would say stuff and I'd be like, I mean, in my career, like if I didn't have that,
you'd be broken.
I'd have stopped 50 million times.
Yeah.
You can't sing. You ain't this. Y'all church. Why y'all starting a church? Y'all ain't gonna get no building. It's LA. Watch us. And not with arrogance, like a genuine.
Yeah, a genuine.
So caring about people because we are preaching to people, but not carrying the weight of what they do. Allows me the freedom to go home and take a deep breath. Sometimes we talk about it, but I'm like, hey man, this is our sanctuary. This is our safe place. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be here fussing about the church. You know what I'm saying? We got too much work to do outside. So let this be the place we build. My husband thanked me one day for being a safe place to land. I thought that was one of the best compliments ever. You know, there's no switch that comes in your back that tells you know how to be married. The moment you get married, you have all the preconceived ideas. Even if you were married before, you weren't married to this person. So you have to blend and merge, and we had to learn that. And then there was music. We had to learn that, right? Then we had to learn proper boundaries and commitment to one another. Like we didn't even, this is going to sound bad. We didn't even really celebrate our wedding anniversary. We like, if work came, we'd work. We're both the same in that way.
Oh, so it wasn't like you felt like,
I'd be like, babe, I got an offer on the anniversary. He'd be like, it'll be all right. We got to celebrate the next day. And I would do the same thing. Same for him. I got a session with so-and-so. I'd be like, go, babe, I'll be here when you get back. We never were like, if it's not on that day, then we're not really celebrating. I'd be like,
you know how petty that is? Think about that. Some people be really falling out over stuff like that.
Yeah, because they're not really in love in the first place.
Yeah. It's like the day you be like, I'm here every single day. Like, I love you. I'm not saying I'm neglecting the whole experience. I'm saying, can we do it this weekend? No, you're prioritizing other things. It's like,
you know, me and Warren are different. Like, we're different from others, but we're a lot alike. Yeah. So we celebrate Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day has always been our big thing. Oh, yeah. So from the very first Valentine's Day, we started this back and forth thing. Like, we didn't set out saying that's what we were going to do, but he did the first one, then I did the second one. We just kept going back and forth, and we'll surprise each other and do little things. So I told him that I was pregnant with Krista. It was Valentine's Day. He proposed on Valentine's Day. So it has been, even in our tough seasons, we still celebrate Valentine's Day, because even on my worst day, I still want to be around him.
Even on my worst day, I still want to be around.
Yeah. I remember we were dating, and we had hit a rough patch, and he would still come to my house. He wouldn't talk much, though.
He'd just be there.
He'd just be there. And I'd be like, he love me. This dude love me.
He just sitting there like,
yep. Or he'll call and be like, I'm at the studio and I have to go here. And I'd be like, what is he telling me all of that for if we, taking a break or we, taking space? He hates when I talk about the space he took. He needed space.
In the dating phase. So y'all dated for how long before y'all got married?
We dated for 5 years.
But y'all were young,
met in 90. Yeah, we met at the end of 1995, 96. Darn it, Erica.
95, 96. I graduated high school in 96.
Hey, I was grown. He was 20. I was 23. I was in a play. He had come to the play and all of that. What play was you in? I was in. Was it Mama, I'm Sorry? I was in Mama, I'm Sorry.
Michael Matthews?
Michael Matthews.
I'm telling you, that's where I come from.
Really?
Yeah. I used to tour national. I used to be a national playwright, director, and producer.
Yeah, I know. So I remember your name from that. Yeah.
So that's why I said, when you said that, I was like, Mom, I'm sorry, it's Michael Matthews.
I used to know Sneaky. We did Sneaky after
Michael
that.
Matthews,
yeah. So we met there and just stayed connected and, dating someone younger. He says he never had a girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
You was his first girlfriend?
That's what he says. I said, they was your girlfriend. You just wasn't a boyfriend.
For real?
I know all of them is like, what?
I thought that was my boo thing.
Yeah, but, a long journey, but I wouldn't.
Do you feel like 3 years is a big age gap?
At 20 and 23, see, I always dated older guys. I always dated somebody that was 4, 5, 6 years older than me. And
so did it feel young for you?
It did. When I met him, I was like, oh, 20, so cute. Oh, you do music. That's so cute.
You was playing him like that?
Oh, I did. But I couldn't stop talking to him. I loved his conversation. I loved his smile. I loved how he loved his family.
So what was it about him that made you say, this is my husband?
Now, see, I didn't say that because I had just been engaged twice before. So there was a little overlap in meeting Warren, okay? I'd just taken a previous ring off. And
she said, I just taken the previous.
Had I given it back yet when I met him? I don't think I had given it back. It wasn't on my hand. But but I hadn't given it back yet. So it was a little overlap.
Little overlap.
A little bit. So much so till, you know, they're both kind of the same height, same complexion. So when Warren came to church, they was calling him the other guy's name. I was like, no, new guy. So, yeah.
Erica, that's a terrible story. That's a terrible story.
Real life.
How you gonna say it's some overlap? They were calling the new dude the old dude.
I don't know.
It was that close in proximity.
Listen, it's long time ago. 22 years in. No, we both got passed. But listen, we're here today, 22 years. Love you, husband.
Healthy love.
Healthy love. Healthy love. Yeah.
And so throughout that process, so when you, not that you called him your husband, when was it confirmed in your spirit that this was your husband?
Probably around 1998, yeah. Because we got married in 2001. And about 98, I knew, I said, now, Lord, you got to tell him because I'm not one of them chicks. I'm not asking you. I'm old school.
Yeah.
So I said, Lord, if it's him, tell him.
Facts.
And he'll ask. And he did. But, you know, I'm in love with love. So every birthday, every Christmas, every Valentine's Day, I was like, let me get my nails done because.
You thought he was going to propose?
Every time. I remember that last Christmas before he proposed. He came out with a box and it was earrings. And I had to fake her happy like, oh, it's earrings and not a ring. Thank you.
He said, it's a ring. It's a ring for your ear.
Oh, God. And I was like, what? What is taking you so long? I'm awesome. You can't tell? Look at me. You don't want me to be your wife? So...
Did he do something as typical as propose to you on your birthday?
No, it was Valentine's Day. So we had gone out.
You did say that, yeah.
To this restaurant in Santa Monica. And apparently he had asked my dad already. He had told the whole family. So we're at this restaurant and his pager keeps going off. And I'm like, this is
some of y'all don't know about them pages. Y'all know about them beepers.
Children.
Yeah, beepers.
It's a beeper.
Yeah, it's a beeper.
Yes, so it was going off. But it was my oldest sister and one of his friends. Did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? And I remember it was like a celebrity in there and he was just nervous. And so he kept going to the bathroom. And I was like, this is a very different Valentine's Day. So we eat our food, we leave. And we're walking. It's foggy. There's these old like Casablanca lights. And I was like, man, this is so perfect. And he said, well, I think I know how to make it more perfect. And he got down on one knee and said, will you marry me? And I was screaming, oh my God. And I said, yes. And I guess I was too loud because it was a homeless guy in the distance that said, shut up. So like a sitcom, like a comedy sitcom. Exactly. Yeah. And we planned our wedding together, from the colors to the amount of people to the food. We did it all together. It wasn't like, all right, you plan everything. He was like, I've always wanted to be married just like you. I dreamed of this day just like you. So we picked the venue and the reception place. We did it all together. And our families were included as well.
You know how important that is, what you just said? Because a lot of times they always make the man just kind of just show up. They always be like, oh, no. The woman has dreamed it. It's this. And then and I always say, just think about how you're starting off this beautiful union.
Man, it's all about you.
Yeah,
selfishness.
Yeah. And it's like, and we've okayed that. We've made it where, hey, this is her day. And he like, well, what is it for me?
Right. It's his day too.
And then the dude sitting over there talking about.
Looking crazy, ready to go.
Yeah. And it's like, why would you create that experience to make it seem like he got this ball and chain, like he's been forced into the situation? He has no say-so about the cake. He ain't got no say-so about the cup. He ain't got no say-so. He's just supposed to show up in his quote-unquote penguin suit and say, I do. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I love the fact that you said this is a collaborative effort so that he can be invested in it, because you're going to need him to stay invested in it and not be able to say, well, you didn't care about what I thought while we was playing this thing, and now you want me to have full say-so while we're getting married, or throughout the marriage you want me to show up, but you excluded me in the process.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do things God's way and he's the lead, you've got to trust him.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Why would you marry him, take his last name? People don't even do that no more.
No, they don't.
Why would you do all of that to question his every decision? You know what I mean? It just breeds distrust. I think there's a healthy way to talk about what you think. If you disagree, you don't have to be disagreeable. You don't have to be irritated and annoyed. You know what I mean? There's a way to really do this thing together. And that's what we did. Now, we probably had At least 200 of them guests was because of my mama and his mama. You not inviting auntie so-and-so? You not bringing, well, what about sister so-and-so? She known you since she was 6. Ma, I haven't talked to her since I was 6. I got to pay $49 for her to eat, and then this whole table setting that I have to pay for. Ma. But we did it. We had 500
You know, my
guests.
daughter got me together. So, because I tried to do the same thing. She got engaged in 2019. The pandemic intercepted the whole thing and interrupted everything. And she had told me she wanted this nice wedding or whatever. So I went and put a deposit on the venue. I was like, yes. And then her mom got all involved and was like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And his mom got involved. And I said, I'll just pay for it. But then she was like, I don't have nothing but about 5 friends. All this is going to be is y'all's friends and family. So she was like, she came to me, she said, Dad, I want to go do a destination wedding. And I was like, but I just put a deposit on the venue. I can't get this money back. She was like, well, I'm just saying this is my wedding and I want to do it. Me and my husband, Tay, we want to do it the way we want to. And I was just like, and then she came back around and said, she really got me together. She said, why spend all this money on a wedding? And I'm staying in an apartment and that could be a down payment for a house.
Smart girl.
And I said, flesh and blood didn't reveal that to you because I sure didn't tell you that.
Smart girl.
And then so she told me that. And then she just, when I say she ended up getting married in her, in the clubhouse of the high-rise apartments that she lived in.
Wow.
And that's what she ended up getting. It kept getting postponed. So December the 30th of last year, she got married. And I was like, it felt like you didn't lose nothing from it. And I was like, this was so inexpensive, but it's crazy how, I wanted this experience for her. I was like, I want this daddy-daughter dance. I want to go viral when we choreograph this dance number and all this. I was, you just robbed me from all these experiences. You know what I'm saying?
But would that have made the marriage stronger? Was that just for you or was that for them? And
it was for me. It was for me.
But daddies can be selfish.
Yeah, it was for me.
I loved my daddy-daughter dance.
See, that's what I'm saying. See,
I loved mine.
Now you just rubbed it in. See?
Sorry.
Now you just stuck the dagger in and turned it.
Lord,
but the reality was that is to be able to join. And at the end of the day, I took a back seat and said, y'all married. Y'all get to curate whatever experience you want in your wedding.
Yes.
And I'm a take a back seat. And they created something that was great for them. Yeah. And it just made all the sense in the world. And I repurposed that date to allow 3 people whose weddings got interrupted during the pandemic, and I did this group wedding. And it was called Black Love Matters. It's on my YouTube channel now. And so I just used it and did it.
Cool.
I'm always figure something out from it. And
Come on.
So those people they have beautiful, thriving marriages now. But it was like, okay, God, what do you want me to do with this so I don't lose my money?
Wow.
And we pulled that wedding, me and my team pulled it off in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Had 3 people getting married.
You found out about it, but God always knew that was the design.
But talk about it.
That goes back to him being perfect and there are no errors. And even the different things that happen in life, whether you get married young or marry early or whatever, God knew. But there's always provision. There's always purpose. And if you look at it like that, then you don't live with so much anger and regret. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? I don't know why it happened, but it happened. So now how do we move forward from here? How do I heal? How do I learn? How do I grow? How do I share this testimony that I've overcome this, you know what I mean? That I learned the lessons that I'm supposed to learn in this situation.
I know you just helped somebody right there. It's somebody that just got a breakthrough out of what you just said just now that's watching. I felt in the spirit. Because a lot of times people are going through certain things in their life and they're still blaming, like you just said, why did this happen? Yeah. And you said, I don't know why.
I don't.
But God can still get the glory out of that story. God can still get the praise after you. Because, man, when I tell you my whole podcast was birthed off of that, my whole podcast was birthed out of a failed marriage and getting tied up in a toxic situationship after my marriage that almost destroyed me. And then God birthed this platform that's bringing healing to people all over the world.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what's so beautiful about it. You said something earlier about how this I don't care attitude that you have is the very thing that God had to deliver me from. I had a strong codependency issue. I cared about what people thought. And this is when I was married. And in that's what kept me so bound to the struggle that I was dealing with and infidelity in my marriage. And I couldn't talk to nobody. I wasn't going to try to seek help from nobody because I didn't want nobody to know what I was going through.
Right.
And when God released that thing and delivered me from that, God told me, I was visiting the Potter's House one day and I had the cast of one of my shows, Issues We All Got Them. And they were visiting the church with me, and we had went to the Potter's house to hear Bishop preach. And Bishop says something to the liking of, if God can deliver you from people's opinion, he can finally use you.
Right.
And he said that, and it was like he said it directly to me, because I was like, God said, if I can deliver you from people's opinion, I can use you. And that was like in 2013 or something, or way back then. And then I look back after he's curated this Dear Future Wifey podcast. People can say whatever they want. It just, I'm so unbothered. I was like, oh, okay.
You know when it's God moved and that he breathed on it. You know when it is. I think growing up in church, a lot of us have good girl and good boy syndrome. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, because I know I'm saved, but do you think I'm saved? Have I presented myself safe enough for you? You know what I mean?
Facts.
So then you're afraid to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. You're afraid to say, because then you're going to think I'm not saved. And so now I can't get delivered, but I have to act like I'm delivered because I want you to be okay with me. So I live in this tension of, I want to get right, but I can't get right because if I say it, you're going to judge me, not love me or help me get through it. And there's far too many of us struggling with that. And when I learned to get free, I got a big family, so I had a bunch of people to check with my whole life. Mommy, what you think? Teen, what you think? Daddy, what you think? Aunt Teresa, what you think? Uncle Charles? Yeah, I was checking with everybody.
You was?
Yeah, for a long time, for a lot of years, even in my friend circle. I loved my friends. So what y'all want to do? Okay, all right. And then I remember when I heard my own voice and I liked it. And I liked what I said. And I didn't worry if it would offend somebody or make somebody mad or make somebody not be my friend. Me and my friends had got into this little situation, and we had been friends for years. So we were used to navigating those difficult waters of, miscommunications and misunderstandings. But this particular time I stood up for myself. And so one of my friends said, Erica, did you really say that? I said, Somebody had asked me to do something for them that I couldn't do in the time that she wanted it done. And so I got it done my way by having a messenger pick it up and drop it off at the person. But I didn't walk it in the room that she wanted me to walk it into. And so because I was busy and traveling, and she was upset, and, you married Mary, so you different now, and you can't do this.
Yeah,
I said,
always that.
As arrived as you think I am, I have not, and I still have to work to do all of this stuff.
Yes.
It is not easy. I said I did what I could, and I want you to respect and honor that. So the talk after that was, Erica has changed. So I said, y'all, let's get together. I remember we went to P.F. Chang's, and we sat down, and I said, yes, I've changed. I've grown up, and I want you to grow up with me. This is not because of it's just, I learned that I have a say-so in the matter. Allow me to say my piece. Y'all know me. Y'all know my heart. Y'all know I'm not braggadocious. I was the broke friend. I couldn't even give no gas money when we was just putting $5 in the gas tank. I ain't never had no money for the taco parties. How dare I get all arrogant and cocky now when y'all been taking care of me and loving me all of this time? I love you. I want to have my same friends when I get old. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the beginning of me going, I spoke up for myself and it worked.
Yes.
And they're still my friends to this day.
Yes.
And when you learn that, you carry that lesson in other areas of your life, whether you have to speak up in church or speak up at work or in your family or even in your marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you speak your truth in love, when you don't come with your fist up, because sometimes we come to the conversation that we want to smooth something over with you better not hurt my feelings.
Yep.
You can't get to a place of peace that way.
What would you leave people with as it relates to, you may have a couple who's engaged and they have this tumultuous relationship with their soon-to-be in-laws, or even a couple that are married, been married for 2 years, 3 years, been married for a long time. What strategy or what would you offer them to help circumvent the tension that they have, or the, hey, that's his family, ain't got nothing to do with me, I just won't do this? What words of encouragement could you leave them with?
A book I read before I got married and even after I was married was The Power of a Praying Wife. And I learned in that book, I opened that book and I wanted that book to tell me how to tell him off with scripture. And it did not. The first thing it told me to do is to pray for him, right? But it directed it so at me till it touched my heart. What is my position? What do I bring to this? And so I didn't look at my in-loves. I didn't look at them as outsiders. I looked at them as family. If you don't have that story and you want to feel like family, first pray for God to put that in your heart. Lord, let me love them like family. Let me heal. Whatever has happened, God, provide a time and a space where we can come together, where we can see you in the center. Some people will be pliable. Some people will want to. Some people will not. But it does not mean that it is impossible for you guys to heal in that way. You know, you want your spouse to love your family. Maybe you guys can have a family conversation. Maybe you can come together, you know, being honest.
Yeah.
And especially if y'all all believers. Now, if they not believers, you got to tread lightly because everybody process differently. But I don't think anybody's mad at trying to make your family healthy.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think being intentional about love, being intentional about conversation and communication. And sometimes you have to work on your own heart, because if you battle the spirit of rejection, then that means you'll never have a conversation because you're so afraid of someone rejecting what you might have to say. You won't even be honest about what's real because you're so afraid to be rejected. I learned that there's two answers, yes and no. Both of them can be right. No doesn't mean I don't like you. No doesn't mean that just means that's their answer, right? Just the same way in scripture when it talks about if you're going to witness somebody and they don't receive you.
Shake the dust off your feet.
You do your part. But guess what? You still got to keep loving them.
Yeah.
Shaking the dust doesn't mean throw them away. They still your family. You still got all the holidays, all the birthdays, all the things. And so working towards community, sometimes that's what God is giving you the opportunity to do with your family. Oh, I'm so peaceful. I'm so peaceful. He going to put you in a chaotic situation and go, are you?
Yeah.
I'm kind. He's going to put you in a position to say, are you? You know? And so in life, we have those opportunities, and marriage does it. Marriage gives you those opportunities to be selfless, to be kind when you don't like your spouse, because you won't like them all the time.
I know how intentional you are about not saying in-laws.
Yeah.
You say in love.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Day one.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because when she told me, I don't want you to be my daughter-in-law, I want you to be my daughter, that felt like love to me. So we worked toward making, I love me some Mama Campbell. You hear me? She's an awesome and a beautiful woman, and she's been so good to me. She really has.
So you don't call any of your quote-unquote in-laws?
I mean, when I'm talking to a stranger and they may not get it, but nah, dad is my dad. Mom is my mom. Joy is my sister. They've loved me, and we family.
What you got coming up?
Well, the song Feel Alright Blessed is out. The video's doing great. Go watch that.
Yes.
And the album is coming in September.
In September.
The Love Movement is coming in September.
It's called The Love Movement.
It's not called The Love Movement, but that encompasses a lot of what I feel about this record.
So you don't have a name for the album yet?
I do, but I'm not going to tell you yet.
So I thought I was going to get an exclusive. See how she do us? See, Lit Family. She can't even give us the name of the album. We just going to go Google Erica Campbell new album.
Yeah, you ain't going to find it. You better not find it. Or my marketing team is in trouble.
So that's coming out in September.
Yes, and the tour is coming. It was supposed to be in July. It's got postponed, pushed to September because things have to be right.
What do you want people to take away from this new album? You called it the love
of God, love for ourselves, the power of love, the restoring power, the healing power, the victory in it. There's so much. You know, we say we love God, but it's conditional. I love you if you do this, and I don't love you when you don't do that.
Any features on it that you can say? No, look at, she can't even say that. Look,
it's some features.
Some features.
Woo, it's some features.
I already know it is. You can't say that either, can you?
Can't.
See?
Warren Campbell gonna watch this, and I'm gonna get in trouble. Listen, he just started giving me my music because he said I'm too nice. He like, you be playing it for people, and he does not play that.
He don't let you play your own music?
No. And when I come back home and I've been out, he be like, who you play the record for? I be like, nobody. God. Golly. Man.
I'm the one that sung the song. You're like, wow. So basically, it's going to be a dope album.
It's going to be a dope album. It's going to be an incredible album. I feel like I've been the most confident in this process.
What style? What genre is it?
It's still gospel, but
is
you
it
know,
more pop? Is it more
is
R&B? Is it more? Does it feel like, you know?
It's Erica Campbell.
Okay.
It's everything that Erica has been, that you've known me to be, in a more elaborate, exaggerated way.
Really?
really honest, probably a little more transparent in subject matter in the songs. But it just shows the heart of who I am. It goes back to you asking me, why am I open? Why not be? If you tell people it's gonna get messed up, that means people have the power. They don't have that much power.
You better teach.
God ain't never in heaven going, I could figure out how to bless Erica if it wasn't for people. You know? And when I stand before God, he gonna be like, the people messed everything up. No, I surrender to him. All of it. The writing, the singing. I was really, really insecure about that singing piece. My voice had gone through this real transition. And I said, okay, God, you gave me this one body. If I can get a cut on my arm and a scab can come and this cut can heal, then my voice can heal. What do I need to do? So I started vocal coach and, lost the weight and getting healthy and making sure I'm intentional about how I treat my voice. Just like a sports player has to warm up, I cool down. My vocal coach wants me to get up and 2 hours before I'm going somewhere, run for an hour, vocal warm up for 30 minutes, make sure I have at least 32 ounces of water, then be ready to sing. That's what he want me to do. I try, Rob. I try.
Who got time to do all that? Every time they
People
get ready to
who
sing.
keep their voices.
You said run for an hour.
Yes, because getting that blood circulating in your body, in and through your body, when you take your deep breaths, you have the blood and the flow to support it. You sing differently when you've got a lot of energy than when you're tired. And I've seen the difference when I did a morning show and had to sing at 5 a.m. on a morning news show, and I sound horrible. So I just know I have to do it. This is my gift. This is what God gave me. I want to be a good steward over what He's given me.
How long have you been working or recovering vocally? Because you said that now you had to.
Yeah. Probably for the past 3 years. I know I've been working with Rob longer than that. I'm not good with time. Misty, how long I've been working with Rob? Before the pandemic. So yeah.
And you feel you got your confidence back.
1,000%.
I want to hear you in this vulnerable moment talk about how the lack of confidence. Here you are, no one would ever believe that. Like you this amazing multi-award winning artist, and then you go through this rough patch where you're insecure vocally. What did that?
I wouldn't post me singing. I wouldn't post it if it wasn't perfect. Because not only did I have to live up to the Erica Campbell, whatever that means, but Mary. Yeah. And so if there was anything it could be one thing off and I just wouldn't post it.
Really?
Yeah.
One thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I just wouldn't, and sometimes my voice just wouldn't show up for me because I wasn't getting enough rest. So we started the church. We were still doing the reality show.
Oh yeah.
Say it was like 2 or 3, and I was still doing Mary and starting Erica Campbell. And I was not getting enough rest. So my body was taking a beating. No, and my voice would not show up for me because I wasn't showing up for it. And so I would just do less and less. And I would sing, but I'd be like, post the pictures, that's it.
Did you ever think that your career is about to be over at that point when your voice is failing you?
No, I was just like, God, I'll be glad when you heal me. I'd be like, this is not what you showed me. This is not what I dreamed.
This is not your best.
Whenever, this ain't my life. I don't know what this is. This is a storm. Ain't no way you called me to sing and minister to the world and this is how it's going to end up.
He said, ain't no way.
Ain't no way. This ain't it. This gonna have to, late in the midnight hour, God, you're gonna have to turn this around. And then I just learned to own the voice that I have. Yeah. My voice is good enough. It is what it's supposed to be. Because all these young and amazing singers, and I think all singers at some point begin to compare. You have to feel very comfortable in your own skin when you're scrolling and you see singer after singer after singer. You go, ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Don't post mine. You know what I mean? I was like, no.
And it was so crazy as those singers that you hear that are powerhouses vocally, you're their inspiration.
Oh, man, they show me so much love.
Yeah, and then when you get that, they're like, oh my God, Erica Campbell. You like, girl, I just watched that viral video you had singing. I'm like, girl, I ain't even. And they like, no, it's because of you that encouraged me to become who I am. You like, for real?
Yeah.
It's like.
And God kept going, you're Erica Campbell.
Yeah.
You're my daughter that I gifted.
There it is.
That is the gift that you have. Don't compare it to anybody else.
There it is.
I used this to get you where you are.
And that's a
didn't
word
drop
for
you.
everybody to understand on the sound of her voice is the fact that whatever gift that you have, whatever podcast you have, don't try to compare. It was people that came to me and was like, well, your podcast got 400,000 subscribers. You know, I said, but you realize I started out with about 50. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just had to be a good steward over that 50.
Yes.
And I remember, though, in all transparency, when I probably had about 700 subscribers. I said, don't nobody care about me. I'm out here making these videos. Don't nobody care about me. I'm getting 400 views on the video. I said,
I feel you.
I said, don't nobody care. They don't care.
You have to keep
no one
going.
Cares.
You have to build.
But see, Erica, I was posting stuff on Facebook, and then when I was posting videos before the podcast on Facebook, I'll get like 5,000 views in one day, and I'm like, yeah. And then I went on YouTube. And I'm getting 200, and I'm like, nobody cares. They just don't care.
That's how you feel.
Yes. And then I started comparing myself to other people who not only they didn't have podcasts, but they had YouTube channels and Instagram pages that they would post videos and get 100,000 views and all that. And I heard the voice of God so clearly say, be faithful over a few things and I'll make you rule over many. I said, that sounds great. He said, no. That sounds great, Jesus.
Yeah.
But because I we say this stuff about God, if I just win one soul, that's all that matters. No, that's not good enough for me. I'm not finna say that. Like, we say this at church all the time. If you had one member at your church, that would not be successful. You would shut the doors.
Yes.
You would not be like, as long as
do
one
this on
person
three-way.
Yeah, we do this on three-way.
I don't need to get up and get dressed and drive for that.
We're going to give them a Zoom and we're going to talk to this person.
Right.
And so I said, God, no, you show me that I'm going to reach the masses. Please curate that opportunity. And I was just faithful over those few things. And in 1 month, in the month of August, I went from 700 subscribers to 10,000 in 1 month.
Wow.
And I was like, had a video with my boy Jay Barnett, and it's just me and him talking as men, being vulnerable and sharing our heart. And everybody's like, I've never heard men just sit here and talk like this.
Right.
But another thing was being obedient to the voice of God to start the podcast during the pandemic. Because when God told me to start it, I was like, he said, start it. And being obedient to that, it had everybody's undivided attention to be able to grow while everybody's eyes was on me.
Wow.
And so that's why we have to be very tuned into the voice of God. But I love what you said about saying, this is your voice, Erica. That's your voice. Don't be looking and comparing yourself to nobody else. This is what I gave you.
Rock what you got. Rock what you got.
As we conclude this, I could talk to you all day because it's been a long time coming. I need to get you. I need to get your boo thing on here so we can talk too. Yeah, we gotta get Warren on here so we can talk. But any last words you want to leave people with? I'm just gonna put in your hand. Any word of inspiration?
Oh man,
whatever's on your heart.
Oh God. Okay. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. All of the ground is sinking sand.
Now, Erica,
Trust God, man.
Listen, I didn't even ask you to sing. I just want you to see, secretly in my soul, I want you to sing. But I wasn't gonna put you on the spot and have you sing. I just want you to give a word of encouragement. You done blessed the people with your beautiful voice, and so thank you so much for blessing the Dear Future Wifey listeners. Man, listen, when that album comes out, y'all, I need y'all to go out. See, Erica, what you don't know about this beautiful support system that God has curated with Dear Future Wifey. We make people bestsellers. We make people New York Times bestsellers. We put people platinum albums. Like, what's so dope about this audience that God has given me is that when they have a guest that sits down, the way we show love is by showing support.
Wow.
And so you're going to see people just go and buy all your stuff. They're going to go in your link tree or whatever your links are. They're going to start buying stuff that you have, DMing you, talking about the impact that you made on them. So yeah, y'all do what y'all have always done. Show love, show support. When these tour dates are released, go out, get your tickets early, show some love. If she has VIP tickets, get VIP tickets, go do meet and greets behind backstage and say, I saw you on Dear Future Wifey. And so just show love. Thank you so much, Erica, for blessing us on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Hey, y'all give it up for my homie, Erica Campbell, y'all. Ladarian, thrusted suddenly into Child Protective Services in 2015. My nephew, Black, a boy. The likelihood of being adopted outside of kinship, slim to none. Armani, 16 years old, Black, a boy, with 5 years in the foster care system before I even knew his name. The likelihood of ever being adopted, yep, you guessed it, slim to none. While Ladarian and Armani were trying to survive and barely thrive in an overpopulated and underfunded foster care system, I was living my own life, doing well professionally. Having been a single father with a daughter who at that point was doing well in college, it was my time to live my life, right? Wrong. I felt unsettled, tireless, agitated. There are just too many of our Black children stuck in ambiguity and in the limbo of the foster care system. In 2017, I legally adopted my nephew, Ladarian. Fast forward to 2019, I had no ties to this other young king, but I felt God instructed me to adopt him also, and I obeyed. Starting over with parenting should have been enough, right? Working with various foster care and adoption agencies to help bring awareness to the countless young Black kings in the foster care system should have decreased my agitation, right? Joining the board of directors of Advantage Adoption, an organization that helps find permanent adoptive homes for children in foster care, should have led to some type of resolve, right? No, not at all. None of it felt like I had done enough. I now realize that every one of those experiences was laying the fundamental foundation for my life's mission, Kingdom Royale. Kingdom Royale will be a luxury, state-of-the-art home for foster boys. Our first location will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will utilize the whole person approach that instills identity, empowers them to advocate for themselves, and enlightens them regarding new perspectives and limitless options that they thought were impossible. Though the young kings will attend the local public schools that are in proximity to Kingdom Royale, our at-home curriculum will broaden their worldview through participating in the arts, attending various cultural events, learning about and engaging in multifaceted discussions about current events and even relevant historical context, introducing them to gardening and landscaping and even caring for our animals on our farm and on-site stables. We just launched our Startup Capital campaign with the goal of raising $2.8 million. Now, why $2.8 million? Well, in 2017, I created a web series in which I performed random acts of kindness for targeting the homeless community. One of the most notable successes was that one of the videos went viral, garnering 28 million views. However, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't raise a single dollar to help in implementing a more sustainable plan for the homeless community. So throughout the years, with much remorse, I reflected on not maximizing that moment. I knew if at that time, just 10% of the viewers donated $1, we would have raised at least $2.8 million that could have really established long-term support for the homeless community, or at least started a long-term initiative to do so. This is my do-over. This is our new beginning. Together, we can attack this at the root by specifically helping our homeless Black boys who are already disproportionately represented in the American foster care system. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield. I've been nominated for 3 regional Emmys documenting my work with the homeless as well as my personal adoption journey. Despite those accolades, the greatest award for me is truly providing the infrastructure for a transformed life. Visit kingdomroyale.com for more details. Crown a king and make a donation today. Man, I've been trying to get Erica Campbell on for a while. Can't wait to actually get an opportunity to sit down with her and Warren because I believe that they're a very dynamic couple. I got a chance to meet Warren at the Stellar Awards, and when I tell you, you see certain people that you go, I know why God brought y'all together. He brought y'all together to fulfill divine purpose, and so that divine purpose has been fulfilled dynamically with them, and I just enjoy watching it. Well, here's my favorite part of the podcast where I speak to my future wifey. Dear Future Wifey, Expansion. The Lord just downloaded this word into my spirit. Expansion. There are two definitions for the word. One definition is the action of becoming larger or more extensive. The other definition for expansion is related to the extension of a state's territory by encroaching on that of other nations, pursued as a political strategy. Our union will be both. We will become more extensive in our individual callings and purpose. Moreover, our spiritual mandate and holy matrimony will encroach on the devil's kingdom. We will strategically take dominion of the enemy's camp and bring back hostages for the kingdom of God. For this is our purpose. Expansion for the glory of the Lord. Can't wait to expand my mind, my spirit, and my soul with you. Your future hubby. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.